Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel KBS Technocraft. Today we are going to understand how we can use SpecFlow for parallel test case execution. In this, we are going to understand what is parallel and sequential test execution and what are the difference between parallel and sequential test case execution. In second point, we are going to understand how to configure our SpecFlow test cases to run parallel. And then in the final, we are going to understand how to run the test cases parallelly. What is the sequential execution? By default, when you write a test case using Visual Studio or VS Code and use SpecFlow, then by default the test cases used to run is sequential. That means test runs after another. For example, if you are having a 10 test cases, then it will run in sequential order. Then once the first test case execution complete, it will start the second test case. That means it's in linear function. It will be in sequential or linear function. Overall execution time due to sequential processing, the overall time taken by the complete test suite execution, it might be more. For example, if each test case took 1 second, then if you are having 100 test cases, then the total execution time will take 100 seconds, right? And uh, feedback also, you will be able to get error or you will be able to come to know about the test case successfully executed, pass or fail after that all the test cases are executed, right? So it you have to wait till 100 seconds in the current scenario what I have explained. If each test cases are going to take 1 second, then you have to wait for the result for 100 seconds once all the test cases are executed. Now let's understand what is parallel execution. In parallel execution, opposite to basically the sequential execution, what happens? The test cases you to run parallelly. For example, multiple test cases will run parallelly. In that case, what happens if one test case used to take 1 minute and we are running 1 second, and if we are running 10 test cases parallelly, then what will happen? All the 10 test cases will be executed in 1 second instead of taking 10 seconds. So basically, it's reduce overall execution time. What happens in the real time scenario when you are having a test suite and you are trying to execute those test cases are pipeline, or you are having some kind of regression test which you want to run it. In that case, what we require to execute all the test cases in very quick manner so that we can get the result in very quick manner, understand whether this application, whatever is going to be deployed, is is bug free or not. To understand it in more detail, let's create a project in Visual Studio, and then we will add few scenarios for SpecFlow and try to run it parallelly and sequentially both. So I just selected a new project, and then I will select a SpecFlow and I will click next, and then I will give the project name is for execution execution, right? uh, and then I will create new. I will select .NET and then test framework unit. I will create this project, and then I will try to build that project and see that it's building proper or not. So I will rebuild this solution, and we can see that the build process is working. That means it's successfully building this. And then what I will do, I will just delete this file because we are going to write our own uh, scenario and feature file. So let's delete this, right? And then before we go, we will try to install the dependencies here. So I will go manage my web package, and then I will try to have a Selenium web driver basically, and then I will install Selenium WebDriver, and then I will install another package that is basically Selenium support. So I will go here, manage new web package, and then browse, and then I will type Selenium support. right? So I will install Selenium support here. Okay. To save the time, I have the feature file from the previous session, so we will use that. If you want to understand in detail about those feature files, you can visit the previous recording or previous sessions where I have explained it. So let me copy, add it, and then I will explain it at very high level, like what we are going to do in that feature file and their scenarios. So I have opened that here, and I will just give a name called Wikipedia search. So I will go in feature file, add new item, and then I will select a feature file in the SpecFlow section, feature file, and then I will add that. So I added there this feature file. Ignore that error because if you have a space into the feature file name, it will display like this. And then I created the file. Then I will add this scenarios there in that feature file. So I have added this. So I've added this feature file, and you can see there is no step definition defined. That's why it's showing as a blue color. Once the step definitions are defined, it will show as a normal color. So I will do right click here and define step, and then I will click on create. Now step definitions are defined. If you go here now, you'll be able to see that uh, that this color got changed as a black. And if you go to definition, it will navigate to that. So we are good here, and we will rebuild here, right? Then we require a hook to be created, and then because all the driver initialization is happening there. So I will go add new item, and I will select SpecFlow hook, let the name as a SpecFlow hook dot one, and then I will go there from my previous code, and then I will select guess as it is, and from the binding, let's say select from binding to here, and then I will copy it. So I will copy it here, and then I will paste it here. Right. So hooks are ready. Now what we need a step definition file to be copied. So I will go there and I will copy step definition file there. In step definition, I will copy again from binding because the namespace name are changed. I will copy this, and then I will paste it here. Basically, I will override that, right? So we have added this code there, right? And then we will save it. We'll save all and build it. Okay, so build successfully happened. There is no error. That means our test cases are ready to run. Now, let me explain at very high level. Since I have discussed it in more detail into the previous sessions, I have added the link in the description box. You can refer that. But I will go at very high level what we are doing. In this feature file, we are having three different scenarios where each scenario contains a specific scenario to test it. For example, first one, searching a topic into the Wikipedia, and that topic we have hard coded as a SpecFlow. And second, we will be after the search when user click on SpecFlow, we are verifying that it's opening to SpecFlow page. And the third one is we are verifying the content. Once the page open, SpecFlow page open, the content is containing the SpecFlow information. So this is at high level this test scenario, realistic test scenario, which we try to cover it now. And then we have step definition generated. In the step definition, you can see we are having scenario context injected here, and drivers are initialized into the hooks. I will explain it in few minutes. And then we are getting the driver instance from the hook, and then we are performing the operation. First we are navigating to that page, and then we are trying to execute those steps, right? And the hook section, what I have it here is that we are having before scenario and after scenario. Before scenario, we are just initializing the Chrome driver and storing that into the scenario context, so that in the step definition file, we will be able to we will be able to retrieve or read that driver information from the scenario context. And after scenario, what we are doing it, we are making the driver to quit because we want to a browser to be closed and driver to be dispersed. Ignore the other this code I have explained in the previous session. This is just to explain how to generate the living doc. As of now, that is not in scope for this video. So now we are good and we are going to run the test case. So I'm going to close all this window just to make sure that we are having focus on only the test results. So close all tab, and then if you go to the test explorer, you will be able to see there are three test cases, right? So if you click here, you will be able to see all these three test cases are there. Now I'm going to run it. So see the execution, how does it happen? Execution will happen in sequential order. That means first, second, and third is going to execute it. It is first test case which is executing. This is second test case which is executing. And then you will be able to see the third test case which is executing, right? So you will be able to see this third test case is executed, right? So now okay. Now let's try to make it parallel execution. To do the parallel execution, we need to do some configuration. To run the test cases using SpecFlow and unit, we need to do some setting, okay, and we need to follow some certain rules so that we can enable parallel execution. By default, unit does not allow you to run the test cases parallelly. So what we need to do, first you have to add a one line of code into the implicit using .cs file. What we have done it, we have added this line of code. It's called assembly parallel and parallel scope equal to fixation, right? So it's based on the fixation, it will make it parallel execution, right? So we have done it here, this code. Now, in the hooks, we have to be very careful. If you compare with previous hooks, whatever I copied from the previous exercise, let's try to compare it. So here, I'm just trying. So if you see, I have used static keywords right here in the hooks, right? For before scenario, after scenario. But in the parallel, for the parallel execution, we should not use the hooks method as a static. That is one thing. Second is, you should not access the scenario context dot current. You have to inject it, right? So if you use scenario context dot current, the system will not allow you to run the test cases parallelly and you will get there. Similar way, if you are using this static method, it will also give you the error because it will not allow you to run the test cases in multi-threading environment. This also applicable in your step definition file. Here also you cannot use scenario context dot current. What we have to do that we have to inject the scenario context and we have to use in this way, right? We have to inject the scenario context and then we have to use get or add kind of mechanism to access it. So anywhere you cannot use scenario context dot current, feature context dot current, step context dot current. You cannot use it because it does not support a multi-threading concept. So what I have explained, there are three things we need to care about that. One is into the implicit using .cs file, we need to enable the parallelism execution, and then in the hook we should not use the scenario context dot current, and also each hook method should not be static, right? And then in the step definition also we should not use scenario context dot current. What we need to use it, we need to inject the scenario context and then we have to use it. So I have done all this. Now what I'm going to do that just to represent a realistic data, since we are having very less test cases, I'm just going to copy it, right? Copy it and paste it here, just so that we can have a multiple test cases. And then I will mention that search and copy like that. I just make it that feature file name as a copy, right? So I will make it copy just to increase our test cases, right? And I will copy once again and copy and paste it. Okay, and then let it be like this, and I will make it copy too, like this, right? So now we have three different feature files where we are having each three test cases. It's a test case names or scenarios is same, but it's located in different feature files, so it will not create any problem. And also we need not to generate the step definition because all the steps are binded to that step definition file, so we are good. So now if we build this solution, right? And we let me save this, save all, and then let me rebuild this. That issue, we need to rename our feature file. So I just rename it 1 and 2, and then I have same scenarios here as well. So now we are able to build it. So just I will build this. And now if you go to the test Explorer, you will be able to see now 9 test cases. Name are same. It does not matter because it's having in different feature files. So that's why it's allowing the same name, scenario name here, right? So now if we run it and you see the browser, what will happen? You can see the multiple test cases are running parallelly. So let's say I click on execute, run. So if you see 3 test cases are running parallel, right? So since this pop-up is coming, I'm just trying to search. So if you see this, all 3 test cases are running parallelly. So it does not run in sequential order. It's running parallelly these all test cases, right? So if you see all these 9 test cases will be quickly. So if you see, this all are running parallel now. Okay, let's execution get it finished and then we will see the result, right? Okay, now this works fine. Now since I have disabled the reporting, so if we go on Solution Explorer and go here, I have disabled that uh, SpecFlow report generation part. I will enable it, and then I will have to give this solution name because it's required a parameter of the library name or DLL name. So I will paste it now. And now I will go on the test explorer and I will rerun save all and rerun all, right? Run all. So you will be able to see the reports as well. So let's see that. So if you see all this are running parallelly, so let it complete this execution. Okay, once the execution finish, I will revisit all the steps what we required, and uh, then we will see this results. Okay, so all test cases execution are finished now. Okay, and reports generated. You can see all the three feature file and all test cases are getting passed. Right, you will be able to see this all test cases are getting passed. Right. Okay, so if you are not aware about how to configure this living documentation report generation part, please refer my previous video where I have completely mentioned step-by-step process to do that. So I'm not going to explain it here. Okay, now I'm going to revisit the steps what I have done it till now. Okay, what I have done it right to enable the parallel execution into the implicit using I have added this line for enabling the parallel execution, and in the hook section I just make sure that I'm not using any static method for any of the hook method, and also I have been injected scenario context. Make sure that scenario context dot current be not used in either hook or either into the step definition file. Similar way what I did it, I have injected scenario context here. I have not used scenario context dot current. Okay, so I hope you understand. And if you have any questions or anything which you require my help to resolve it, please drop a message into the comment box. I will be happy to respond that. Okay. And if you like what you see, please subscribe my channel.